"Nay, I flatter myself that there could be no doubt of it," replied the cavalier in the cloak. "Well then, only fulfill your promise by rescuing Peppino, and henceforward you shall receive not only devotion, but the most absolute obedience from myself and those under me that one human being can render to another. Have a care how you pledge yourself, my good friend, for I may remind you of your promise at some, perhaps not very distant period, when I, in my turn, may require your aid and influence. Let that day come sooner or later, your excellency will find me what I have found you in this my heavy trouble. And from the other end of the world, you but write me word to do such or such a thing, you may regard it as done. It shall be, on the word of faith and of—" "Hush!" interrupted the stranger. "I hear a noise. 'Tis some travelers who are visiting the Colosseum by torchlight. 'Twere better we should not be seen together. Those guides are nothing but spies, and might possibly recognize you. And however I may be honored by your friendship, my worthy friend, if once the extent of our intimacy were known, I am sadly afraid that both my reputation and credit would suffer thereby. Well then, if you obtain the reprieve, the middle window at the Café Rispoli will be hung with white damask, bearing a red cross. And if you fail, then all 3 windows will have yellow draperies. And then, my good fellow, use your daggers in any way you please, and I further promise you to be there as a spectator of your prowess. We understand each other perfectly then. Adieu, your excellency. Depend upon me as firmly as I do upon you." I feel like we've just veered into Jean Le Carré territory. Secret signals and spy stuff going on. Lots of intentional symbolism, not even from Dumas, but from the characters themselves, because as we were calling him, Stranger with Money says, the symbol that he has performed a successful operation is to place out there a white fabric with a red cross on it, which is very associated with almost religious and heraldic symbolism, especially in European tradition. It's a bold and unmistakable signal that the man in the cloak can't misinterpret. I feel like that would even work today. I think about walking around in my neighborhood and you see flags for every single kind of cause. No one would blink twice at seeing a new flag go up with some sort of symbol or something on it that you don't immediately recognize. Or if you do recognize it, not knowing or questioning why that flag is going up. You know, we've got Ukrainian flags, we've got pride flags, I saw someone put up a pirate flag, and not in a like Proud Boys kind of way, just like a, hey, we're kind of a kooky house that loves Halloween skeletons in our front yard kind of way. And other flags that, you know what, I'm not going to mention because they do not deserve the exposure. But this is really kind of exciting. I don't know how we're going to follow these 2 men. I can't imagine Franz is going to trail after them, considering he's kind of tied to this Colosseum tour. But maybe as they're leaving, they're going to... Oh, okay. Nope. I got to stop myself. I'm going to stop myself. I'm not going to speculate. I was thinking that one of them discovers Franz on their way out, and they have to, like, confront him. What do you know? I think I talked a little bit about that the other day, but I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to go there. Who knows what's going to happen? Only we do in the future when we read additional pages. That's how forward momentum in time works. I will say, having read Three Musketeers and going through this book, I think it's pretty safe to propose the idea that Dumas really is interested in how promises bind people together. There are these kind of like informal contracts that they do, a sort of like pledge of loyalty. And not that the characters have to abide by them, but it seems to be kind of a litmus test for his characters. Think of Villefort in this early on when he basically gives a pledge, a binding promise to Dante about doing all he can for him. Then he breaks that promise. That reveals something about his character. But then Dante makes a pledge to Abbe Faria that he will escape. He will go find the treasure. And he holds true to that. Even after Faria is dead, it becomes his guiding mission. And that reveals something about Dante. It's kind of an interesting... I don't know that I'd even call it a device necessarily. Maybe it is a plot device, a character device. I'm not sure, but it's something he employs often. It appears in the Three Musketeers a lot, actually. So many schemes. In fact, this scene here that we're reading in chapter 34 feels most like something that could be lifted and just dropped right into the Three Musketeers. All this kind of plotting and scheming and almost spy-like stuff where the Duke of Buckingham is trying to have his little affair with the Queen. The servants are trying to communicate and pass letters between people. Diamonds are stolen. There's a plot to unravel the affair. Like there's all this kind of backroom action happening. So it does seem to be something he uses often. I'm actually getting really excited to read yet another Dumas book at some point. Because I feel like when you have 3 examples, then you can sort of triangulate ideas. So I'm curious what he wrote right after Monte Cristo, or what he wrote right before Three Musketeers. I'm going to look that up and see if we can't figure out an interesting direction to do some supplemental research on. Okay, that's all I've got for today. Join me here tomorrow for a little bit more of Chapter 34. Until then, okay, goodbye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.